Hello, this is News Live in Viewer Television. My name is Joy Malik. We begin with the headlines. Sirap writes President Muhammadu Buhari seeks copy of agreements with US over $23 million about loots. INEC warns against campaigns in churches, marks violators risks imprisonment. Plus, protesters clash with police in front of Argentina VP Cristina's home. Many thanks for joining us. Now, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to direct the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami to provide the organization with a copy of the agreement the federal government recently signed with the United States for the repatriation of $23 million stolen by late General Sani Abacha. Now, the United States government had last week signed an agreement with the federal government to repatriate $23 million about loot to Nigeria. Now, in the letter dated 27th August 2022 and signed by Sirap Deputy Director Kolawale Oluwadere, Sirap said providing the organization with a copy of the agreements with the U.S. and publishing the agreement would allow Nigerians to scrutinize it and to monitor the spending of the repatriated $23 million about loot to ensure that the money is not mismanaged, diverted, or stolen. Now, Sirap expressed concern that the repatriated $23 million about loot is vulnerable to corruption and mismanagement. Substantial parts of the estimated $5 billion returned about loot since 1999 may have been diverted, restolen, or mismanaged, and in any case remain unaccounted for. Now, thousands of supporters of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, on Friday showed on Port Harcourt in solidarity with his aspiration to become the president of the country. Now, numbering about 10,000, the supporters gathered at the Element Junction axis of Aba Road, singing songs and praise of Obi. The supporters, under the ages of 2 million men, marched for Obi, marched through the stretch of Ikwere Road before terminating their trek of the Isaac Adaka Borough Park. Now, the supporters, mainly youth, sang Obi and danced all through. They held placards that highlighted the leadership challenges in the country and suggested Obi would resolve them. They also called on Nigerians to prepare to make a change. Still on the 2023 election, exactly 1 month to the commencement of campaigns for the presidential and National Assembly elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission has warned political parties and candidates against the use of masqueraders, public facilities, and religious centers for campaigns. The Commission asks political parties to align strictly with the provisions of the Electoral Act to avoid sanctions as stipulated by the Act. INEC had fixed September 28 for the commencement of campaigns for the Presidential and National Assembly, while the elections will hold on February 25, 2023. Now, relying on Section 92 of the Electoral Act 2022, INEC National Commissioner and Chairman of its Committee on Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, explained that the law expected political campaigns to be civil and devoid of abuse. Speaking on the need for complaints, the INEC National Commissioner pointed out that the Act already provided for sanctions for violators and that adherence to the law should be prioritized by all the parties and candidates. Now, let's look at the Lagos State, where the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency says that 22,500 children died from air pollution in the state in 2021. Now, it stated that the figure was 75% of 30,000 people who died in 2021 in the state due to the bad environment. The General Manager, LASEPA, Dr. Dolapo Fasabe, disclosed this to newsmen on the silence of the official kick-off ceremony for the Eco Clear Air project in Lagos State. The theme of the project is Breathe Clean Air Now. Fasere said that the figures were derived from a report which recorded the impact of air pollution on the health of residents. The general manager said that the administration of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu had been very deliberate and proactive in its resolve to deliver clean air and sustainable environment to Lagos residents. She noted that upon resumption, the governor prioritized health and environment in the administration's terms agenda because there is no good health without a good environment. Now, human rights lawyer Femi Falana has called on the federal government to sign the renegotiated agreements with the striking members of the Academic Strike Union of Universities. In a statement, the senior advocate of Nigeria urged both ASU leadership and the current administration to resume negotiations in order to end the prolonged strike for the overall good of Nigerian students, while calling on both sides to resume the negotiations in the interest of the country. The federal government should be prevailed upon to end the prolonged industrial action. He accused the federal government of resorting to blackmail ASU, recalling how talks with the union ended in deadlock, a situation that dashed the hopes of many students. The right lawyer is of the view that the federal government should commit itself to the faithful implementation of collective agreements reached with ASU, which are enforceable by virtue of the relevant provisions of the Trade Disputes Act instead of embracing the faceless option of prescribing union. Now, when News Live returns, the Sokoto State Police Command has said its men are still searching for the suspected killers of the students of the Shehu Shagari College of Education, Deborah Samuel. Details of these and more comes to you right after the break. So stay tuned.
In this 21st century where all the information we need is now in the palm of our hands. News from around the world, entertainment, celebrity gossip, sports, and much more. The only thing that you need is the right source. Viewer TV is now on the go. Simply check us out on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter for all the information you need.
Addressing criminal activities like armed robbery, farmers-herders conflicts, banditry, kidnapping, insurgency, terrorism, organized crimes, and other related menacing activities do not start from the national level. Yes, everything starts from the grassroots level. Conflicts, like they say, have multiple drivers and are often local, and they do not stop at state borders. They escalate. Peace, security is an essential factor of human life. A peaceful and secure environment is critical to every society, since it affects all aspects of human lives, properties, and the nation. Everyone in Nigeria lives in a local government. When a local government is dysfunctional, the crime is bound to soar. This and many more happens when the local government is not autonomous. To address these challenges, the Local Government Autonomy Bill needs to be signed into law, granting the local governments the freedom and autonomy they need to function independently of state governments.
You are even born again, you are a child of God. Can you give me thanks for that?
I try my best to balance it. This is time for the family.
Outside of the music that I do. So a bit of ministry.
More of ministry.
That there's going to be a shift and it's going to be drastic, it's going to be powerful, it's going to be dramatic. My name is Cecilia Okeke. Keep watching Gospel Light on Viewer TV.
Lafiya Allah a san mutum a san cinikinsa in ya bari a san ya daina sana'a da ba naka ba ko da ka ci riba faduwa ne mugun magangari sai kura jaki hau bai da ba a kwana ana loda kayan amalawa ne jaki. Jama'a ku ci gaba da kallon Viewer TV. Keep watching Viewer TV. A shagali, a shakallo, lafiya.
For sponsorship, for advertisement, do contact us on our email at gospellight.ng@gmail.com. You can as well follow us on our social media platform on Instagram at gospellight.ng. Do remain blessed.
Welcome back, here it is joining us. This is News Live on Viewer Television. Now let's take a recap of our top stories. Syria writes President Muhammad Buhari seeks copy of agreement with US over $23 million Abacha loot. INEC warns against campaigns in churches, mosques, violators risks imprisonment. Plus, protesters clash with police in front of Argentina VP Cristina's home. Now, the Sokoto State Police Command has said its men are still searching for the suspected killers of a student of the Shehu Shagari College of Education, Deborah Samuel. The Samuel was turned to death in May 2022 by some students believed to be her classmates over allegations of blasphemy. The spokesman for the command, DSP Sanusi Abubakar, said those arrested by the police were not prime suspects. Abubakar said they were only among those who organized the riots. He added that those arrested were still in remand custody as ordered by the court. Abubakar further said that the prime suspects were still at large, stating that efforts were ongoing to arrest them. He promised that the command would not be biased on the case, adding that the State Commissioner of Police, Mohammed Gumel, would ensure that justice was served. Now, a total of 125 unified tertiary matriculation examination and direct entry examinations candidates who scored 300 and above in 2021 did not gain admission into tertiary institutions. The figure is based on the admission statistics prepared by the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board for the period under review. While tertiary institutions are at liberty to determine their respective cut-off marks for admission, there is a widely held belief that candidates who score higher marks have advantages over those with poor UTME scores. According to the statistics obtained from the board, a total of 7,105 candidates scored 300 and above in the 2021 examination. Now, out of the 715, JAM notes that only 590 were admitted, while out of the 125 who were denied admissions, JAM noted that 35 of them applied for medicine. Commenting on the development, the board blamed certain factors of the non-admission status of the 125 high scorers. Now, Taraba State Governor Darius Ishaku says his administration has implemented all social investment programs in Taraba State. The governor made the disclosure during the flag off of the federal government's grants for vulnerable groups at the Campview Hotel, Jalingo. Let's take a report on this.
Governor Darius Ishaku, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Anthony Jelason, pledges to provide counterpart funds in line with the memoranda of understanding signed between the state and the federal government. He posits that the cash transfer program, homegrown feeding programs, and the Empower by the federal government have no doubt improved the livelihood of the citizens. Governor Ishaku thanked President Muhammadu Buhari and other implementing partners for doing a great job and further urged the participants to make judicious use of the money and items given to them to reciprocate government good intentions.
You will note that all the four components of the National Social Investment Programs, that is NC, is fully implemented in Taraba State, and it has impacted positively on the lives of the people of Taraba State. More than 1 million direct and indirect beneficiaries across the state have benefited from these programs.
In her remarks, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, said the program was in fulfillment of the President Muhammadu Buhari campaign promises to uplift the living conditions of the vulnerable groups in the society. The minister, who was represented by the Coordinator and Natural Investment Program, Umar Bindir, reveals that over 5,000 people have benefited from the program with cash transfer of 20,000 naira to over 3,000 people across the state.
President Muhammadu Buhari, his deliberate social inclusion agenda, Your Excellency, has directed that 70% of these beneficiaries must be women, while the remaining 30% is for youth. Mr. President, also Your Excellency directed that at least 15% of the total number of the beneficiaries must be allocated to citizens with special needs, including persons with disabilities and also our senior citizens in the state. It is on this note that we encourage the Taraba State government to note and emulate this gesture and extend similar interventions like you are doing to amplify social inclusion through its policies, programs, and projects.
Some of the beneficiaries thanked the state and federal government for coming to their aid. High point of the ceremony was the distribution of starter packs to earn skills beneficiaries, digitized payment of conditional cash transfer, payment of one-off grants to selected internally displaced persons, and others. Linda Guana, Viewer TV News, Jalingo.
The Nigerian Army says the two soldiers it dismissed from service were triad of the headquarters 241 Reserve Battalion Nguru in connection with the murder of an Islamic cleric Goni Ismani in Yobe. Director Army Public Relations Brigadier General Yema Wanchiku, in a statement on Sunday, identified the two soldiers, Lance John Gabriel and Lance Adamu Gideon. Wanchiku said the soldiers were dismissed after facing trial at the headquarters 241 Reserve Battalion in Nguru on Saturday, having been inducted in a report of a board of inquiry set up to investigate an unfortunate incident. He said that both soldiers were charged for summarily tried for failure to perform military duties and conduct prejudice to service discipline. Army spokesman said that the two soldiers were found guilty and awarded reduction of rank from lance corporal to private and dismissed regiment. Now, after several weeks in detention, Ukamanka Ijeze, popularly called Mama Biafra, who is said to be the foster mother of the detained leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, on Sunday got her freedom from the custody of security agencies. The leader of Kanu's legal team, Ifeanyi Ejiofor, confirmed the release in a short statement. Now, Mama Biafra, a Septuagenarian, was arrested during Kanu's last court appearance in Abuja on May 18th. The woman had been acting as his mother since his parent died in 2020. You're still watching News Live in Viewer Television. Let's go on a quick break, and when we return, business and international news comes to you right after the break. So stay tuned. And on Business Today, the Association of Foreign Airlines and Representatives in Nigeria has asked the Federal Central Bank of Nigeria not to waste time in releasing the promised $265 million out of its members' trapped funds in the country. The president of the association, Kingsley Wakyoma, in a telephone interview said it was commendable that the government promised to release part of the funds, but that there should be no delay if the brewing crisis in the sector were not averted. Emirates Airlines had threatened to suspend flights to Nigeria from September 1st over its trapped $85 million, while some other foreign airlines gave the government till December, coupled with fears that they may also suspend flights. Also, British Airways and Faraday stopped travel agents in Nigeria from selling its ticket amid the difficulty of foreign airlines to repatriate the $464 million ticket sales proceeds to their respective home countries. And on sustainable development, the federal government says it was working to establish a strategy on e-commerce to boost the growth of the sector. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Adebayo, made this known in Abuja to stakeholders dialogue on e-commerce and digital trade policy for Nigeria. Adebayo noted that there was no better time than now to diversify the nation's economy away from the oil sector by building a dynamic, profitable and efficient non-oil sector to place the economy on a sustainable growth path. According to him, the number of online shoppers in the country, which was at 76.7 million in 2021, was expected to hit 122.5 million by 2025. The minister, who was represented by the Director, Commodities and Export Department of the Ministry, Suleiman Audu, said Nigeria was actively participating in the ongoing negotiation at the World Trade Organization to boost e-commerce. Now, the president of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Maso Ahmed, has said that excessive reliance on imported raw materials has significantly weakened Nigeria's manufacturing sector. Ahmed spoke during the annual general meeting of the Apapa branch of the association held in Lagos. He also called on manufacturers to deepen ties with the public sector with a view to improving infrastructure needed to boost manufacturing activities in the country. The Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Cooperative, Olu Remi, said the state government was ready to strike productive partnerships with manufacturers in line with its agenda to create a vibrant private sector. The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency has said it is determined to fight crimes in the country's territorial waters. It said with the SPOMO Act, it had secured 23 convictions. A statement signed by the Deputy Director of Public Relations, NIMASA, Osige Edward, quoted the Director General of NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamal, as saying this when he hosted a branch of the Nigerian Bar Association in Apapa, Lagos. And the news around the world, the French President Emmanuel Macron and his Algerian counterpart Abdelmadjid declared on Saturday, August 27th, a new irreversible dynamic of progress in the nation's ties, concluding a visit by the French president aimed at ending months of tensions. The three-day visit comes less than 2 months after Algeria marked 6 decades of independence, following 132 years of French rule and a devastating 8-year war. It also comes as European powers scramble to replace Russian energy imports, including with supplies from Algeria, Africa's top gas exporter, which in turn is seeking to expand its clouds in North Africa and the Sahel. Now, flash flooding hit Pakistan's northern Chisada district in the province of Khyber. After heavy rain pounded much of the country on Friday. Now, this followed the government declaring a state of emergency to help it deal with monsoon flooding that has affected more than 30 million people. Pakistan is appealing for further international assistance after floods wreaked havoc across the country. Pakistan's Interior Ministry official Salman Sufi said much more funds are needed even after the US, UK, United Arab Emirates and others contributed to a monsoon disaster appeal. Sufi said the country is in desperate need of more international support. Now, Vice President Christina was at the center of a political firestorm on Saturday after her trial for alleged corruption prompted clashes between riot police and supporters in Buenos Aires. Fernandez, the cashier 69, was backed by supporters across Argentina as they took to the street for demonstrations at public squares across the country. Thousands responded to a social media campaign and gathered peacefully in town squares across Argentina. Though at Buenos Aires, some supporters breached police barricades to reach Fernandez. Now, Indian was demolished by residential high-rise buildings outside New Delhi on Sunday in a dramatic spectacle carried live on television channels after days of excited media build-up. The destruction of the 100 million high twin towers in Noida, home to a concrete forest of similar structures, was also a rare example of India getting tough on corrupt developers and officials. The 32 floors of Apex and 29 of Sion, containing between them nearly 1,000 apartments that were never inhabited in 9 years of legal dispute, were brought down in seconds, creating an immense cloud of dust and debris. The uncontrolled explosion, using 3,700 kg of explosives, were India's biggest demolition to date, local media reported. Thousands of people as well as stray dogs had to be evacuated before the blast, including from neighboring high-rises, one of which was reportedly just 9 meters away. There were no immediate reports on injuries or damage to nearby buildings, but a local official told reporters that the operation had gone largely as planned. Now, the United States Navy has announced that 2 of its warships sailed through the Taiwan Strait on Sunday. The U.S. Navy said in a statement that the transit through the Taiwan Strait demonstrated the United States' commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. The Navy says operation by its 2 guided missile cruisers, the USS and the USS Chancellorsville, demonstrates the United States' commitment to freedom of navigation through international waters. Such operations usually take 8 to 12 hours to complete and are closely monitored by China's military. In recent years, U.S. warships and, on occasion, those from allied nations such as Britain and Canada have routinely sailed through the strait, drawing the eye of China, which claims Taiwan against the objections of its democratically elected government. It is the first such operation since a visit to Taiwan by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi enraged China, which regards the island and its territory. And that's all the news live, but before we go, let's take a recap of the headlines. Sirap writes President Muhammadu Buhari seeks copy of agreement with US over $23 million about loot. INEC once against campaigns and charges. Marks violators risks imprisonment plus. Protesters clash with police in front of VP Christina's homes. Many thanks for watching. I am Joy Malik. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs. Good night.